The next time you think about showing a data visualization and you have to compare many different groups of data, I would recommend a box and whisker chart. And one of the reasons why is because it can help you differentiate different data sets that you couldn't have done otherwise. A more common way to show this would be just a normal Bell distribution. But Bell distributions have their limitations as far as being able to compare different data sets. With a Bell distribution curve, you can show specific data sets in a different way. So for example, this is the data set we're looking at where it's taking a look at specific healthcare plans by individual state. And so within a minute, you can start to understand which states have a higher range and which states have a lower price. All this to say is that when I look at, for example, Nebraska, you can start to understand that it has a different Bell distribution than anybody else, where it has an upper whisker of 939, a lower bound of 728, a medium of 603, the lower hinge, which is this guy here, it has a lower hinge and a higher hinge. When you start to understand specific data sets, then you can start to understand how to compare them. And box and whisker charts are really helpful for that. And so suppose you are trying to compare Nebraska to Wyoming, for example. They have a similar range within some specific plans, but it doesn't necessarily give you all the information. A box and whisker chart can start to give you information that's not otherwise available. So as an example, if we compare Nebraska with Alaska, for example, it has a median of 614. Nebraska, on the other hand, has a median of 603. So even though their median is really, really similar, they have a huge difference when it comes to their range and availability. If I were to pick a plan from Alaska or Nebraska, I would bet on Nebraska because there's a lot more availability in Nebraska for a healthcare plan than in Alaska. This is one way that you can start to understand data, but the other way is that you can start to look at outliers and start to understand why there are outliers within the data set. There are many more advantages to box and whisker charts, but I wanted to give you a short, brief explanation of how you can use fundamental principles when it came to box and whisker charts.